We're not all as good as we think we are. Everybody has a dark side, a lurking shadow, an ego, a side to us that we want to desperately hide from the world. We've all gone through our share of dark times. We've all felt the pressures of life. We've all been cruel. We've been aggressive. We've made mistakes. We may not admit it on social media or even with people that are close to us. We may not show it when we are hanging out with a friend. We may not even admit it to ourselves. We're afraid to face it. We hate it. We wish it didn't exist, but it is there. So, how do we usually deal with it? We create one-sided artificial view of our lives. We put on a mask and convince everybody else that we're living our best lives. We convince ourselves that we can do no wrong, or that we don't have that horrible thing that other people do. We project this artificial version of ourselves to the world, and then, one day, it all goes terribly wrong.
When we realize that we have been living a lie, the false mask shatters, and we come face to face with the emptiness of ourself, which may result in an existential crisis.
This isn't something we've recently learned. Carl Jung talked about our dark side all along. He also knew we tended to ignore it. He told us that, as humans, we are conditioned to present only the good sides of ourselves, to focus only on the light. But does hiding our dark side behind a mask and creating a persona with only the things we want people to see make our dark side disappear? I can tell you from experience that it does not. It gets buried deep within us, but it never goes away. Just like pushing your dirty laundry under the bed doesn't make your room any cleaner.
In some forms of embroidery, the back is very different from the front because people take shortcuts. In the front, everything is orderly, and it is supposed to be kind of messy on the backside. See, which side will you wear? And it's exactly the same with the way we live. You know, like sweeping the dust under the carpet in a hurry just before the guests come. I mean, we do ever so many things like that. And if you don't do it, if you don't think you do it, and you think, well, really, my embroidery is the same on both sides, see? Well, you're deceiving yourself.
By acting like our dark traits don't exist, we are not only fooling ourselves, we are feeding them. We are creating what Jung calls the shadow. When we force our fears, shame, and traumas to hide, and refuse to acknowledge that they exist, they only grow stronger. They become shadows, a darkness that follows us around no matter where we go. And it is at this point we start dividing ourselves internally. We start to create an internal disease. Our dark side may come out in the way we treat others. We might accuse others of being the things we try to suppress because we can't bear to look inward. This shadow might emerge when we least expect it and hurt the people around us. And even worse, we feel like something is missing. That something on the outside makes us feel better. We start to use external success or validation to feel a little bit accepted. But did you know that by running away from our darkest places, we are in fact making them stronger? What if, instead of hiding our darkest parts from ourselves or neglecting them, we simply just accept that we have those bad things inside us? I am an idiot sometimes, I am mad sometimes, I make mistakes sometimes, and it's okay. How about we be honest with ourselves and give ourselves a break? How about I simply accept that I was just tired of faking that I'm a good person, acting in certain situations, trying to impress, or trying to fake all the time. Trust me, it's pretty liberating to just be ourselves, saying what we truly think and believe, and always respecting others' boundaries. You have both God and the devil inside you. We all do. Be kind to yourself. You have to face yourself, every part of you, and just accept it. Embrace it. Love it. You have to acknowledge the fact that even the most beautiful things can sometimes be scary and ugly.
So the holy person is scary because he is like the earthquakes, or better still, he's like the ocean. See, the ocean on a lovely sunny day, you can say, oh, isn't that gorgeous? And you can go into it and relax and float around. But boy, when the storm comes, does that thing get mad? It's terrifying. So there is in us the ocean, you see. And Jung felt that the whole point was to bring the two together.
Every human is capable of evil. It's naive to think otherwise. In fact, it is more dangerous to think that you're only capable of good. Being good is not about having a dark side. It is a conscious choice that you make. Being good is acknowledging that you're capable of evil, but still choosing to be better. That you are choosing love. That you're choosing to grow in love.
There's no light without shadow, and no psychic wholeness without imperfection. To round itself out, life calls not for perfection, but for completeness. And for this, the thorn in the flesh is needed, the suffering of defects, without which there's no progress and no ascent. Authenticity opens the path towards self-realization. With a radically honest view of life, we can progress towards psychic wholeness by acknowledging our dark side that most people cannot bear to look at. We mustn't repress our darkness, but rather confront it.
Most people these days are just internally divided on the inside. They make everything right or wrong, good or bad. I think that the important thing is the consciousness behind our actions. There is no right or wrong, and there is no good and bad. In my opinion, self-love is the answer. It is all about loving ourselves and seeing ourselves in other people. Aren't we here to love each other? Did Jesus not say, love your neighbor as yourself? Trust me, I've been there. I've been at the bottom. I've tried to fight my dark side, tried to hide it, and I've ended up making it stronger. Until one day, I just could not do anything to just observe it, surrender, and accept it. All I could do was to love myself with all my imperfections. Once you start to accept yourself, you stop caring about being successful or worrying about all the things you haven't achieved, or the way you look, or what anyone else thinks of you. I know that I have all the shit and all the light of the world inside. Why not simply be yourself? It is way more difficult to act as a perfect, normal person, feeling divided and empty on the inside. You realize that your greatest achievement was that you had the courage to truly get to know yourself.